Welcome to Knowing Him. This is Steve Danielson.
And this is Angie Danielson.
Join us each week as we explore the hymns of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and share our feelings, insights, and reflections about how each one brings us closer to Jesus Christ.
Enjoy your favorites and find some undiscovered gems in our journey to knowing Him.
Hello, friends, to today's episode of Knowing Him. This is Steve Danielson, and I'm here with my old familiar co-host, Angie. How you doing, Angie? Now, I know the phrase old familiar co-host may not seem complimentary, but I mean that in the most endearing way possible.
Thanks.
It's like saying, jolly good old bean. I don't know, do people actually say that? Or like George Bailey saying, Merry Christmas, you wonderful old building and loan.
I like that one better.
There's no one I know better than you, Angie, and I wouldn't want to host this podcast with anyone else. So you are my old familiar co-host.
Thanks.
So we are right up on Christmas of 2022, and it's been an exhausting couple of weeks. Between my own choir concerts with church and the Ensign Symphony and Chorus and school, and our kids' myriad of concerts that they've got going on, it's been very musical and a very tiring time of year. How are you holding up, Angie?
Barely. I'm ready for it all to be over.
Yeah, we're definitely ready for Christmas break. That is for sure. Well, last episode, we talked about Far, Far Away on Judea's Plain, and we're going to continue the Christmas theme today by talking about hymn number 214, I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day. And Angie, you are up today, so let's see what you got.
Yep. So I thought first we'd talk about the composer, and then we will talk about the poet. So the music is by John Baptiste Calkin. He was born in 1827 in London and lived till 1905. And it sounds like he came from a very musical family. He studied music with his father and his three brothers. He became a composer, organist, and music teacher. And he was an organist or a choir master at a lot of different churches throughout his life, and even taught college. And his four sons followed in his musical footsteps. So,
yeah, I try to tell my sons not to do it. It's like a hobby or something. Sorry. Sorry, long inside joke, and I apologize for including that here.
So did you have any more about him? I didn't really have much more about him.
Not necessarily about him, just more about the tune. So the tune we mostly know from I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day, and that is where it is used most. On hymnary.org, it gives a breakdown of where the tune is used most, and that's where you're going to see it most. But I did find the tune used for a couple other texts as well.
Oh, really?
So there's one here called Fling Out the Banner, Let It Float, with words by George Doan. It goes like this. Fling out the banner, let it float skyward and seaward, high and wide. The sun that lights its shining folds, the cross on which the Savior died.
Interesting.
So,
I've never heard
nice,
that.
Sort of Easter hymn of sorts there. Well, I don't know if people would sing this at Easter. It talks about the crucifixion, not about the resurrection. So, anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, the other one that I found, which I thought you would find interesting, is one of my favorite hymns that other people don't really like, which is Ring Out Wild Bells.
To this tune?
To this tune.
Oh.
In this hymn book, it was called Ring Out the Old, Ring in the New. So this has words by Alfred Tennyson. Ring out the old, ring in the new, ring happy bells across the snow. The year is going, let him go. Ring out the false, ring in the true.
It starts with the second verse that we have
Right.
in our hymn book.
Yeah. But I thought that was interesting. In our hymn book, Ring Out Wild Bells is a minor key, and a lot of people are like, I don't like it, it sounds so sad. And I love that about hymns. I love that sort of juiciness in it. But
Well, maybe if we sang it to this tune, people would like
that's right.
it more.
People would like it better if it was in major, and we'll have to suggest that to our award. Let's sing it to I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day.
That's right. That would be fun.
Yeah, so I just thought, I always think that's interesting, just to find where the hymn has been used otherwise. The name of the hymn is Waltham. That's the tune name.
Where'd that come from?
I couldn't find that. It must be a location. William Monk, that we've talked about before, he arranged one of the hymns that we talked about before. He actually did a hymn tune also called Waltham. And so this one is known as Waltham Calkin, and then there's Waltham Monk.
Interesting.
Yeah. I've run into a couple tunes like that where people named it the same thing.
You'd think they wouldn't be able to do that or something, that they'd be like,
Well, that's why
sorry, that's used.
That's why you got to put the name in parentheses, like this one is by Calkin.
That's right. So it was written in 1872 and put to I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day.
Yeah, the words were written earlier, right?
Earlier. So the words were written by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, if you've ever heard of that guy.
I might have heard of him. I would say I'm a poet and I know it and my feet show it because they're Longfellows.
But I'm ching.
Oh. And it's not even true. I have small feet. Sorry.
So he's a pretty famous poet, and there was a lot to read about him. We probably could go on for hours about him. But he was born in 1807 in Portland, Maine. He died in 1882. And his mother's maiden name was Wadsworth, so that's where that comes from. His grandfather was a Revolutionary War hero. He has ancestors that go back to the Mayflower, so he had a lot of prominent people in his family.
Well, I'm probably related to him then.
He might be. He even ended up living in, like, the house where George Washington's troops stayed during the Revolutionary War. Yeah, in Massachusetts. It was interesting.
Not at the same time they were there. Okay.
Later he lived in that house, and now it's a historical site that's has both names, like the Longfellow, George Washington something. I can't remember exactly what it's called.
So you can go there if you're a George Washington fan or a Longfellow fan.
That's right. Revolutionary War fan. Let's see. So he was very studious from a young age, and what I was reading was that he started school when he was 3. Yeah, really young. And then he got transferred to another school when he was 6. So, like, he graduated. I don't know.
You graduated preschool, elementary?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what.
But somewhere between the ages of 6 and 14, when he was at this one school, he became fluent in Latin. So that's pretty incredible. And his first poem was published when he was 13 years old.
Wow.
So
that is it. That he's exhibiting talent early.
Yeah. His mom really encouraged him and gave him great literature to read, like Don Quixote and Robinson Crusoe and things like that. So he really loved literature and writing.
It's amazing the literature that we still read that was read back then.
Yeah.
Like those
all still
classic
around.
works that just endure forever.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
So he went to Bowdoin College. I don't know how you say it, Bowdoin or Bowdoin. And his grandfather had founded it. And I thought it was interesting. It said he met Nathaniel Hawthorne there and they became close friends. I'm like, oh, yeah, that seems like a pretty good friend to have in the writing business.
Were they the same age?
I didn't look it up, but I don't think so. I want to say he was older. And then he toured Europe a lot and learned a ton of different languages. I guess he was really good with languages. He picked them up really quickly. So he actually did a couple tours of Europe and learned like 3 or 4 languages every time. Like, I know. I'm like, what?
And here I'm stuck with just Duolingo.
That's right. Then he met Washington Irving on one of these trips to Europe, and he encouraged him to pursue writing. So there was another connection to a famous writer. Did you find anything about whether or not you're related to him?
I did, yeah. I used relativefinder.org and found out that Henry Wadsworth Longfellow is my 6th cousin 5 times removed. So, I mean, we're basically like next door neighbors.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're
we're
having
so
like
close.
family reunions together.
Seriously. I need to get connected with my Longfellow cousins.
That's right. Or Wadsworths or whatever. So Longfellow became a professor at Harvard from 1836 to 1854. And then he decided to retire and just dedicate his life to his writing. So after that, he was just a full-time writer.
So is most of the stuff that we know from him, is that after this retirement period, or do you know that?
I don't know that for sure. I heard The Bells on Christmas Day was written during that time, but I don't know about the other famous.
So what other famous stuff did he have?
So some of the ones that most people would know are Paul Revere's Ride. That's pretty famous. The Song of Hiawatha, and Evangeline are three of his most famous ones. And it seems like he liked to write in this storytelling way that's like these very long
narrative
poems. Yeah, if you've ever read Paul Revere's Ride or The Song of Hiawatha, they're long.
Yeah.
They're pages and pages long. So
Yeah, Song of Hiawatha is like a little book.
yeah, so
Yeah.
they're not just like a little paragraph. You
Yeah.
know?
We actually have a family connection to the Song of Hiawatha. In the poem, Hiawatha's mother's name is Winona, and my grandmother, Winona Claire Bigham, was named after Hiawatha's mother, and our daughter is named after my grandmother. So the name
Yeah.
Winona comes from our Longfellow friend.
Yep. My dad used to always quote Paul Revere's Ride as
Oh, yeah?
well. I don't know. He might have known the whole thing. My dad used to memorize poems, and he was pretty amazing at that. But I don't think he ever stood and quoted the whole entire thing to us. But he knew a lot of it. He would quote the whole, like, probably the first good paragraph or two.
Yeah. I remember we had a church picnic, was it 4th of July in Tennessee, and someone read the Ride of Paul Revere, but it was raining super hard, and we were under this shelter with a tin roof and couldn't hear the words at all. So
I don't even remember that.
it was the most lackluster version of the Ride of Paul Revere, because you didn't get to hear the words, but it is a good poem if you get a chance to read it.
So, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow had some really tragic things happen in his life, which always seems to be the case with these amazing poets and composers and stuff. But he had both of his wives died tragically. So his first wife died after having a miscarriage. And he, I think, was actually away on a trip to Europe when it happened. Yeah, it was really awful. And they'd only been married for 4 years, I think, and they hadn't had any other children. So that was really tragic. And it seems like he was prone to falling into deep depression over lots of, different things. And so these tragedies really shook him. His second wife, Frances Appleton, they were married for 18 years and they had 6 children. But I guess she was, one day she was like using some candle wax to seal a letter, and like it caught her dress on fire or something. Yeah. And like she started like burning from the fire, and he came out of the room and tried to save her, and he tried to like smother it with a rug, and then he tried to smother it with his own body, and he got severely burned from it too, but she didn't make it. She died.
That's awful.
Yeah, it was absolutely tragic. And he had such bad scars from trying to save her on his face and stuff that's when he grew the beard that we often see him
To hide the scarring.
Yeah, to hide it. So, says that because of this incident, he fell into a deep depression and he never fully recovered for the rest of his life. And he started taking some medicine that was opium, had a different name, but that's what it was made of, and ether to numb his pain. So he was using these drugs to try to numb the pain of this tragedy, which is really sad.
So when did he write I Heard the Bells?
So he wrote, on different websites it said either 1863 or 1864. So there was a conflict.
Somewhere between those 2 years.
But this song came because of the Civil War. So his son Charlie had gone off to fight in the war, and that was actually against his father's wishes. His father really didn't like the war. He'd actually written some poetry about slavery. He was an abolitionist, and he fought against slavery, and he just thought the whole war was just a tragedy, and he didn't want his son involved in it, but his son wanted to go fight for the North. And so he went to fight in the war, and he was wounded in a battle. And it was on Christmas Day, either in 1863 or 1864, that he heard bells ringing. And I'll read this little thing it says that I found on the New England Historical Society website. It says the circumstances challenged his resolve, but he was inspired when he heard the bells. He found in them a message that peace would come again to the troubled nation. They inspired him to write the poem Christmas Bells, which is what the song was originally, the poem was originally called Christmas Bells. So I really liked that,
Yeah.
He heard these bells and this message of peace from the bells, that there was hope, that better things were to come, and this tragedy of this war, and lots of tragedies in his life.
Yeah.
He was probably thinking about his wives that had died and his son that was wounded and everything. So when he originally wrote the song, there were actually 2 other verses that we don't sing that were about the war. But those were removed. So, I guess we wouldn't want to sing those as part of a Christmas song because they're pretty sad and tragic about.
Do you want me to read the full poem?
Sure.
Okay, so this is with all the verses, so all 7. I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, and mild and sweet the words repeat of peace on earth, goodwill to men. I thought how as the day had come, the belfries of all Christendom had rolled along the unbroken song of peace on earth, goodwill to men, till ringing, singing on its way, the world revolved from night to day, a voice, a chime, a chant sublime of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then from each black accursed mouth the cannon thundered in the south, and with the sound the carol drowned of peace on earth, goodwill to men. It was as if an earthquake rent the hearthstones of a continent, and made forlorn the households born of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And in despair I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men.
It's powerful.
Yeah. Now, as we have it in our hymn book, the verses are actually in a slightly different order. So, as Angie mentioned, there are 2 verses that we don't have. So we have 5 verses in our hymn book. And if you're thinking about the order that I just read, it would be the first 2 stanzas, and then the 5th, or sorry, this.
Yeah, our 5th verse. Yeah, it would be the 3rd verse.
The 5th verse in our hymn book is the 3rd stanza of the poem, and then there's the 2 missing verses, and then the last 2 verses are verses 3 and 4 in our hymn book. Yeah, when they were compiling it, they wanted the song to end on a happier tone, so the stanza about despair is the middle verse, and the latter 2 are more positive, more hopeful. Yeah.
I was just thinking as you were reading that, I don't know, I was feeling very kind of hopeless earlier today. Feeling like just so many overwhelming things are going on and so many bad things in the world and everything, and it's just like what he said, like, and in despair I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said. Like, sometimes we just feel so hopeless when we see things going on around us. I just can't imagine being in the middle of a war, and the country was so divided like he was, and seeing all the death and the tragedy and the sorrow, but then for him to come back and say, Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail. With peace on earth, goodwill to men. It's just like his resolve to still have hope, even after seeing all of these bad things going on.
Yeah, when you were talking to me earlier about this hopeless feeling, you said, isn't God supposed to make everything right? I said, well, yeah, we just don't know when. It's going to happen. God is not dead. He doesn't sleep. He is intimately involved in our lives, and he will make things right. We just don't always know when. And so we keep going. We keep having hope. We listen to the bells and take the hope that they bring in.
Yeah, I've always loved this hymn. It's got a great message. And it's long, but not as long as some of his other poems.
That is true. That is true. And there is actually a movie made about the writing of this hymn.
Yeah, which I want to see.
Currently in theaters, I understand. I think it already came and went here. But
yeah, it was only in our theater for like 3 days.
Yeah,
we missed it.
We weren't able to get to it because of all the concerts that we were going to. But if you get a chance to see that, which I hope I will at some point, I'm sure it's going to be great. So
yeah. If anybody's seen it, they can post on
we'd
Facebook
love to hear about it. Put it on our
about
Facebook group. Email us something. We want to know about this movie. Well, there was a couple other things I was going to say. A couple of years ago with the Ensign Symphony and Chorus, we actually premiered a new arrangement of the song that my friend and accompanist, Stephen Weatherford, did. Fantastic piece. Big, epic work. It was about 10 minutes long, has narration talking about the story of writing it, and had all the verses included.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, great piece. I'm actually going to talk to Stephen, knock on wood, that he'll let me share a recording of that with our audience here. So look for a bonus episode. Hopefully he'll let me share that.
I don't remember. Did it also have these other verses?
It did, yeah. It was the whole story, yeah. Went very dark, but then ends up with that hope at the end. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. Yeah. The other thing I was going to talk about was our inclusion of this in the hymn book.
Oh, right.
So I actually made a mistake last week when talking about Far, Far Away on Judea's Plain. I said it was included in one of the early hymn books. That ended up not being true. It was included in the Sunday school songbook, which I did mention, but it didn't end up in the official hymn book until the 1948 version. So in the 1927 hymn book, there are actually only 4 Christmas songs, none of which I know, which shocked me. I was expecting to at least see like Silent Night or Joy to the World or something. I don't know any of these Christmas songs. The Glory Be to God, Sing the Sweet and Touching something. It didn't give me the full title in the index here. I can look at that real quick. Of course, I'm trying to get to the page, and so it won't turn to that one page. Sing the Sweet and Touching Story of the Babe in Bethlehem Born. Yeah, I don't know that. With Mortals Awake, When Christ Was Born. So I don't know any of those songs. Those are things I want to look at.
But I think that some of the hymns were in older hymn books, because I know that some of the Christmas hymns were in like the first hymn book that Emma Smith made. I'm pretty sure that Joy to the World was in there.
I'm not sure.
Anyway, and I know that when we were talking about Far, Far Away on Judea's Plain, it said that it was in an 1897 or something hymn book. So I don't know why they would have taken them out for this hymn book.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But then in 1948, in the 1948 version, there were many Christmas songs put back in. Far, Far Away on Judea's Plain, right there. And of course, I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day was hymn 219 in the old book. So there are, and a couple of those ones from the old book are also in here as well.
Oh yeah, it does have Joy to the World. But you know what? I think Joy to the World used to be sung as like a Second Coming song. So it wasn't really.
Well, those were the original words. But I don't.
Lord will come.
Yeah, I don't know.
So maybe it's listed in there under the Second Coming instead of.
I don't know.
Under Christmas hymns, I don't know, but it is in this list of hymns from the original hymn book, Joy to the World is. But I don't see any other Christmas hymns on here. I'm reading from Our Latter-day Hymns by Karen Lynn Davidson. At the beginning, she's got a list of all the hymns that we still have in our hymn book today that were in Emma Smith's original hymn book.
And you are correct. Joy to the World was in this hymn book.
Just
And
listed
Joy
in
to
a
the
different-
World, the Lord will come. So it was listed as a second coming
Interesting.
song. Yeah.
So that one's been around for a while.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was fascinating. I learned some things today about Longfellow, and about the hymn and our composer. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Should we sing our song?
Yep.
Okay. So we're gonna do the 5 verses that are in our hymn book. We won't include the other 2. I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet the words repeat of peace on earth, goodwill to men. I thought how as the day had come, the belfries of all Christendom had rolled along the unbroken song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And in despair I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men. Till ringing, singing on its way, the world revolved from night to day. A voice, a chime, a chant sublime of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Well, friends, thank you for joining us today as we discussed the hymn, I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day. As always, it's a joy to be with you and to discuss the hymns. If you'd like to connect with us, please email us at knowinghim@gmail.com or leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/knowinghim. We'd love to hear what you think about the podcast and about the hymns. In the meantime, I hope you'll join us next week as we sing our way to knowing Him.